welcome everybody to Cafecito Power Break. We're excited. Today is February 22nd, and we have Maxine Serrano with us today. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome, Maxine.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes, we're so excited. Lots of stuff up on the agenda for everybody. We're gonna have a chit chat before we go, and some of you may have already seen it yesterday. We posted our pre-launch of our book, our first United Latinas book, which is going to be volume 2 of Extraordinary Latinas, and it is a powerhouse book. Pre-orders are going to be available March 1st, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be posting more of the authors, uh, a lot of stuff that we have that's going to be shareable. And as well, we have our March Women's Month Summit. So make sure that you are registered if you are not already registered. And that is 3/23/23. So you can't forget the date. It's Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. That's going to be a full day, 12 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be a virtual conference because we have members from all over. But we will be doing some in-person events sporadically throughout cities. So stay tuned for some of those. But welcome. Today is a great conversation, and it is a needed conversation because you are the inbox chick, and I can't tell you, and I will not confess or show you how many emails, I have that has that number there. And I wonder, I know I'm not alone. I know that there are people that have a ton of emails. Actually, Brenda, if you're on, Carmen, if you're on, how many emails do you have that are unread, that are just sitting there collecting dust? I think digital dust, right? So, welcome, Maxine. Break this down for us. Tell us a little bit about what you do, and then how can we make sense of being more organized and keeping tabs on all of these different parts of our businesses that need to be taken care of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a business owner, there are many pieces we're handling in a day. And unfortunately, email is one of them. And I will tell you, Sandra, you are not alone. Many of us, including myself, find myself digging through piles of emails. It is a normal thing. It is something that definitely can cause anxiety because unfortunately, when we look at that inbox and we see those unanswered emails, they become part of kind of like our to-do in our conscious mind. And so it is important to really look at it on a daily basis. And my first tip, I would say, is schedule time on your calendar every day, Monday through Friday, 1 hour, and block off time. Like, don't be on your phone, don't get notifications, and just spend that hour cleaning up your inbox. And the three keys that I always give to people when they're starting off cleaning out their inbox is number one, file those emails that you know that don't need to be looked at, or maybe you need to look at later. I even suggest a folder that says need to read, or read by Friday, and then stick those emails in there, and also add a reminder on your calendar. So on your calendar, at Friday at 1 o'clock, I need to make sure I'm looking at that folder. And so this way it's time kind of blocked so that you're going to do that dedicated work. Delete. Soon as an email comes into your inbox and you don't need it, delete it right away. But I will preface that if it's an item or an email that you really want to unsubscribe from, take the few seconds to unsubscribe. I know for myself, a lot of times it's just quick click the delete button, and then it pops up again a day or two later. So it's better to just take the time and do the unsubscribe so that it doesn't show up on your inbox later. And the more you keep doing that, the less and less your inbox is going to be filled with junk, right? We want to try and get away from that. So those are my three. So file, delete, and unsubscribe. And one other thing, don't use your inbox as your to-do list. Like, really, when an email comes in, handle it in that moment. If you choose to do that blocking time, in that hour blocking time, file, delete it, or unsubscribe it quickly. And then this way, it really helps to keep your email inbox somewhat streamlined. And those are my tips.
That is amazing. And it sounds a lot easier when you say it. It's like, yeah, I should do that. I'd have all the time in the world. But, so what happens? What do you, and I love the idea of folders, need to read by Friday, get back to by a certain date. I'm definitely going to be implementing that, because what I find is I can't find the email later. Like I know I owe someone a whole big paragraph or something. And then I'm like, I know that came in, I'll take care of it later, because it has a date of like next month or so. And then I'm digging, looking for it. And it's buried amongst amongst junk. You're right. We should take, I do take the time to try to unsubscribe to as many as I can, but I mean, they're inundating, right?
Yeah, definitely. And another quick tip I love to share, if you use any type of video platform like Loom, a lot of times it's really cool for a person to receive a response to an email where they can just click and they're hearing your voice. Or even on our phones, a lot of times just saying the message, it's just so much quicker than them having to read through it and then also adding another to do on their list. So a lot of times it's something that if you could do a Loom video and just answer all the points in the email and send it that way, that's another, quick idea just to try to streamline some of the communication back and forth.
Yeah. Again, it sounds easy. Sounds easy, and it's putting us all to shame. Because it doesn't feel that easy, right? In the midst of like a Monday when you know it and you have all of these emails come in, and then what happens when you're at appointments or at meetings, and when you delete and unsubscribe, when you get back and you haven't checked messages, which that's my next question is how often should we be checking messages? But if you haven't checked your messages, suddenly I'm like, I know it just came in this morning, and I'm buried under like 20 of them to try to get to it. That it's like,
yeah,
I don't even remember subscribing to some of these things. But
yeah, it does. It can be overwhelming. And I will say, I mean, think about it and be honest with yourself, right? Emails that are coming in daily. If it is something that is on fire and needs your attention right away, that person's going to call you. So if you don't answer it as soon as you hit your inbox, it's okay. Like seriously, guys, it's okay. Like you don't need to answer it right away. Finish what you're working on. Stay focused on what you need to get done that day and set that time, and I will say, I think it is smart to set time. With our clients, we usually will tell them, we'll be in your inbox this time and this time of the day, usually a morning and an afternoon time. And that's when we go in there and we're cleaning out their inbox. And this way they know that, okay, at least I have someone's eyes on my inbox. If there's something important, they're going to let me know. But also in our own, even if you didn't have an inbox checking your inbox, just blocking time at certain times of the day. And like I said, if it's something urgent, they're going to reach out to you. They're going to find you either way. I mean, we have so many ways of communication and so many ways to be reachable. So if it's important, they're going to text you or they're going to call you. So I just tell people, don't get so nervous that you're not answering people back quickly.
absolutely. So what is a good, and I know it varies. And sometimes it'll take a month to reply to something. Sometimes it's a couple of weeks. So long as you reply, right, is a good best practice.
Yes.
Is there a courtesy rule of like, listen, ideally you should try to at least get back to everyone? Is there a method to that, or no? Just I guess it depends.
I don't know. I don't like to put myself in a box like that. And also you tend to know your clients and who you're working with. And like, obviously if it's a high-end client that you really want to take care of, I mean, we want to take care of all our clients, but someone that you really want to be specific with, it's good to be clear with them and say, I just want to let you know, if you do send me an email, my response time is 24 hours, or within 2 hours you'll receive a response, just to give that clear communication. But I feel like never put yourself in a box. Like we should be able to have freedom and not feel like, oh, we have to be looking at our emails all day long. That shouldn't be the case. Like I said, if it's something important, they're going to reach out to you, and you can say that when we onboard our client, we usually give them a perimeter of like our works, our hours, the days that we're off, when they can reach us, and usually our response time to any emails that are sent to us. So we give them a clear look so that it's transparent, and also days of the week that we're not reachable. Typically, I'm not reachable on a Wednesday because I have BNI group that I'm the president of. So that really consumes most of my day. And it also frees up time for me to meet one to one with some of our other members. So I don't, I tell all of my clients that I'm not available on Wednesdays. And so all of those things, if I feel like if you tell people up front, they understand and they're more, able to kind of go through their day knowing, okay, she's not available today. So I'll send an email tomorrow or I'll call her if it's important.
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. Some things are not always urgent. They're just little things of, and it's out of courtesy. You're having a conversation, so that it's part of the relationship building process, which we can go into a networking right now. It's a great segue into that, which is, you need to stay in communication with people, and you need to, and I think that is such an invaluable. We often forget that, right? We often forget that networking is the key. Well, not business owners. We know that that's critical. But most people forget to actively pursue networking, actively pursue relationship building, actively pursue getting to know other people, because that's what networking is.
Yes, I agree 100%, Sandra. And we were just talking about this in our BNI meeting today. It's all about the know, like, and trust, right? We want to do business with people we know, we like, and people we trust. And the way that that happens is through networking. I tell people if you're not networking, you're dying. Your business is dying. It's either network or die. And building those relationships are super important. And I feel like what you guys do with United Latina, where you're offering platforms for us women, to get together, and even, with the same cultures and things like that, we're different, we're different in many ways. And so it's nice to have a platform where we can meet and get together and spend that time and talk about, family and things that are going on, and struggles that we have as business owners. It's so important to have that network, but it is building those relationships. And I always tell people it's important. It's important. And not just networking with just one group, but many groups. Really expand your network, and don't just talk to people on a one-time basis where you're just looking to get business. Build that relationship. Ask them, how are you? How's your family? Where are you going on vacation? Get to know people first, you know what I mean? So that they like you and then they start to trust you. And that's when people want to do business with you. So I hands down, that is I guess the bloodline to my business has always been networking and platforms like this. I'm also part of the Charlotte Latin Chamber. Like I said, I'm the president of the BNI group, and that just has really helped me to build that strong base for my business. So I highly, highly recommend it, especially for small business owners.
Yeah, no, this is a great topic because this is one of the reasons why United Latinas exists. It was when I first started my first business, and I would go out and I would be the only Latina in the room. Why am I the only Latina in the room? And if there was another Latinx individual, it was a male typically. So it was always bothering me, like, well, where are they? How are we supposed to grow and elevate if we're not coming out? How do we get more Latinas to come out and feel comfortable having conversations and building relationships and sharing who they are, in these spaces? And I know that that's been a block, and it is a block for many Latinas, where they have, I guess, those social skills, right? Those ability to really own their own confidence, their own skill sets, be proud of who they are, and then say, "This is what I do. Tell me about you," and build that relationship. And but that's one of the core reasons there weren't a lot of Latinas coming out. So that is, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because that is a need, right? We cannot do anything alone. Most people are walking around in their own mindset thinking, I'm alone, I'm by myself, I have to figure this out by myself. And we tend to live like that generally, right? But when we come together and we meet other people that are in line with the values that we believe in, that have the same hunger and ambition that we believe in, we can create much more.
Yes, Sandra, that's so true. And especially like you're saying, unfortunately, Latina women, especially if you grew up with a mom that was a really strong mom, you have that characteristic that I can do this on my own. I don't need anyone. You know what I mean? I definitely had to struggle with some of those things, where I felt like I'm a strong woman. I don't need help, from anyone. And the mindset, right? We need community. And I feel like being around other Latina women that can understand maybe our upbringing, where we came from, the culture that we're part of, that just, it's just so freeing, to be able to say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? And we understand each other. And we just, as Latinas, have that warmth, you know what I mean? That we can talk on this type of level, like we're talking right now. And it's just being that open, transparent, and asking for help, really. And also offering, saying, hey, how can I help you? It's not just business. Let's get to know each other. How can I help you? What do you need? And I really think, and having a cafecito and just talking through some of those things, that's really how you're going to grow your business and really build long lasting relationships.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that Carmen brought up the superwoman syndrome. It's funny because I had the other day I was on the phone with Liliana actually, and I wasn't feeling this well this weekend. So we were on the phone and she's like, oh, hope you get better. And I'm like, me too, I hope you get better. And I'm like, wait, that's we just started laughing because it didn't apply to her. But she's like, I get, I understand. And that's the beauty with us, right? Like we just both laugh because she's like, I get it, because we fall into that. And I think, I'm really glad that you brought that up because I did grow up with a strong mom and I am very independent and I don't want anybody to help me in certain things. I'm like, I could do this by myself. I've never asked for help. I was the same. I raised my son as a single mom and I believe like, we can do anything. I've always had that. And I never attributed it to my mother being a strong mom. But now it makes sense. It makes complete sense. And we do take on that superwoman syndrome. We want to be able to do everything. Um, I don't know. I don't know why that is. It's almost like maybe we can get a psychologist or a therapist.
I know. I hope she's listening on the call. I have a great friend, Brenda Terry, who just joined our BNI group and she's joined the Charlotte Latin Chamber. And we were having a conversation about this and she actually does trainings and things. I definitely need to connect you to her. I think she would be great addition to the United Latinas. She's from Mexico, and some of the things we were talk about a lot of the things that we grew up with, and that's part of our culture and how we carry that into our marriages, our friendships, our businesses, and how some of those things we need to let them go. And so she definitely does, a great training with that, and it's helpful. And we all need help in all areas. We always, as business owners, always be growing. We should always be learning, reading, and focusing on those areas that are just going to improve us because we're not perfect. We're human beings. We're always evolving and always learning, right?
Yeah, for sure. And Brenda's here. Brenda's in the house.
Yeah.
Brenda, you gotta join us. And I love that, like on that, because there's other women that I've spoken to, like other groups. I'm always reaching out to other organizations saying, what can we do together, right? Our mission is to unite. Our mission is we make more noise when we come together. So there are some groups that are like, oh no, you do what we do. We can't do anything with you, right? And I'm like, well, why are people, there's that crab in the barrel syndrome still, right? That, well,
Yes.
if he's going for that, I got to do it myself as opposed to maybe seeing if I can collab. Before United Latinas was born, even though I had, I was getting ready to launch this thing and I was doing already women's events, I found a group in Miami. I'm not going to say the name of the group, but I went over there and I said, what can I do to help build this? Because I have my heart and soul ready to help women. And why start brand new when I can support your venture, right? That was my mindset. And, but it's not everybody's, and unfortunately it didn't work out. Like their mission and was not in line. Like there was just certain things that just didn't transpire. So then I was like, okay, why I'm not gonna, if, nobody believes in this, not nobody, but it just ended up with, it was destiny, I guess. For United
Yeah. Having that scarcity mindset is going to get you nowhere. And it's the same, with my business, where I do virtual assistant services. There's tons of people that do that, but it's not about that. It's about, what you're offering the client. It's about the relationship. It's about the networking, like really, building those relationships. It's not about, me against them. It's not. It's like, how can we work together? And I think it's great, Sandra. I think a lot of times those things that happen to us, you try to be helpful to this community and maybe they weren't open to it. And then you built something else, where you knew that you want to be inclusive. And even I will say with the Charlotte Latin Chamber, they are also very inclusive. Like I spread the word, not just with Latinas, like, African American, all different cultures, and they're able to join the Latin Chamber and give a little piece of what their culture offers, right? We can all learn from each other, and that's what we want. Like you have united Latinas, and that's how it should be. Like we're Latina, but from different areas, right? Mexico, Puerto Rico, Honduras, all different areas, but we all have the same mindset that we want to help each other. And also that we're Latinas and we're women, we want to help each other. That has to be the mindset for sure.
Yeah, because we can relate to each other, and that's true. Even with the book that we're launching, we have 17 women in that book. Everybody has a unique story, a unique upbringing, right? So everybody's coming from their unique perspective, but we get each other. There's something. It's just something so beautiful about that.
Yeah.
It's like I can understand that. I can understand, how you would feel because that happened, or because, and that's the beauty. I think we there are a lot of people probably feeling like, oh, my story isn't significant, or I haven't, what, they're just not fully confident in who they are because of some of that. But there are so many women out there that can relate to what you're doing in their own unique way. We don't have, we grew up very differently, but yet we're the same, right?
That's right. That's right. So true.
And that scarcity mindset is something that we want to rid. I don't know if that's our amongst us. It's definitely not even allowed in the space, right? We
No.
it out that this doesn't work for us. We want an inclusive environment. We want women to want to see other women win. We want to be able to develop a culture where more women are cheering more women on, and congratulating women for doing things, as opposed to feeling like, well, I didn't do anything major, or I didn't do anything like that. The name of the game is to get in the game. Come join us. Come be
Yes.
in your local state, in your local communities. I
Yes.
mean, get involved. We can't complain about anything we haven't done, right? We can't complain about action we have not taken. We can only kick our own butts and say, you know what, going forward from now on, I'm going to make decisions to be active, to network, to be part of communities, to make sure that I'm out there sharing and talking. And that's what we all have to do. It's part of
That's the key, action. Like, and that's the same with our businesses, right, Sandra? When you decided to, go off and do this United Latina, you had to take that action. If you didn't take that action, who was going to do it? And that's the same in our businesses. I remember being laid off in March of 2020. And at that moment, I had to make a decision. And that it's just taking action, just really, and everything in our lives and our businesses. Just take that step, take that leap of faith. And if we mess up, it's okay. We have each other to support each other and lift us up, right? When you're down, like you were saying, you weren't feeling well and you're talking to this other person and they're like, how are you feeling? A few weeks ago, I had COVID again. And as soon as I told my girlfriend, she's from Mexico, my best friend, Annie, she told my husband, stop by my house, picked up soup and all kinds of stuff for me. And that's the best thing, to have that support in that community. So I just love it.
That's awesome. I love it. So as we come to wrap up, what are like your final thoughts on just overall what it is that you do in general? Share a little recap of that, and then remind people to delete their emails.
Definitely. All I can do is set a reminder on your calendar. I feel like many of us in a business, we're tied to our calendar, like really. Set a reminder, to take that hour a day. You'll see such a difference if you just start doing it Monday through Friday. Take an hour, sit down without any distractions, start deleting and unsubscribing. Number one, unsubscribe and delete. And you'll start to see a difference, and file and set aside time to go through emails that you need to need more time for a better response or a deeper response, and think about Loom for video responses instead of typing everything out, right?
Loom, that's a great idea, the Loom. But what if the 1 hour that you're doing that you pick on Monday or Tuesday, whatever random day you choose, you only get, let's say you clean it out, but it starts all over again on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, middle of the night when you get all.
But think about if you didn't do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you didn't do those clean outs and you're just picking here and there, it just continues to grow. It's like a beast, right? But
Yeah.
also the unsubscribing, that is the key. The unsubscribing is what you're going to start to see a difference in your inbox. And even I've gotten emails where there's no option to unsubscribe. And I will literally type back, please remove me from this, chain, or, things like that, just so that they know that, oh, okay, we can't send Maxine that newsletter. She doesn't want it. And they want, most people want to respect other people's time. So that's key. But not responding or just deleting, it's not going to get rid of it.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, I love the comment Brenda just shared. Positive action and positive focus are how we break through income, success, and worthiness ceilings. Very,
Yeah.
very true. Positive action. So we just heard yesterday, we have 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts randomly going through our head a day. 80% of those are negative thoughts. 80% of those thoughts.
Wow.
So our default is negative. Our default is that fight or flight, looking for the problem so we can avoid it, right? Our default is negative. So Brenda, would love to hear how, if our default is negative, we just have to keep the self-talk, the positive self-talk. And yeah, I would love to see what you would say about that, the 80% negative thoughts. But it is about the positive action. It is, despite those negative thoughts, being able to catch them and being able to stop it. I know when I first started doing events, I used to tell people, clap your hands. Every time you have a negative thought or you're thinking something that's going down some rabbit hole, it could be a made-up story. We make up a lot of negative made-up stories in our head. Snap your hands, like clap your hands. Just do something to snap yourself out of that space of like, hold up, I'm thinking a negative thought. Let me fix that. Let me change that. And it takes practice.
I love that. Yes, that is so good. So true.
Yeah, we got to catch ourselves. Otherwise, we go down the rabbit hole. We think negative thoughts, and we think the world is limited. I'm alone, and everyone else is doing amazing things, and it's just me that's here. No.
Yeah.
We have to continuously remind ourselves, reframe. Great word. Reframe our thoughts, and start making sure that we are catching those negative ones. Because if you can't catch them, they're just going to still keep going, right? So we have to be able to, I'm thinking a negative thought. Let me think about what I'm thinking about, right? So we have to catch those negative thoughts and reframe that and go positive. Every time a negative thought comes up, I love myself. The world is great. I'm amazing. Things are happening.
I can do this. I'm worthy. Yes.
I can do this. I'm worthy. And look at yourself in the mirror and say some of those things. It's a great practice as well.
I like it.
But this has been great, Maxine. I loved all of the tips and all of the information that's been shared. I think this is truly valuable for everybody listening in. And thank you for those that have chimed in and joined us in the chat. I definitely want to invite all of you to attend our March 23rd Women's Month event, which is Break the Narrative, a Latina Leadership Summit. It is going to be amazing. So make sure that you register for that. It's on our website, unitedlatinas.com/events, and you can register there for the 323 event. And then next week, we will be kicking off for pre-order our first United Latinas book, collaborative book, and it's got some powerhouse speakers and powerhouse stories that I'm sure many will resonate and will inspire you to feel like you belong.
Wow, I love it. That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Sandra, for this time and allowing me to have this little cafecito and chat with you. It was awesome.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys all have an amazing day. Feel free to make sure you're following us on LinkedIn and join us at United Latinas. Become a member. We have many benefits. platforms like this. We have our events, we have power talks, we have workshops. We want our members to be elevated with their voice, with their story, with their confidence, and go and approach the world positively and go feel ambitious like we can achieve things because we can. So I will leave you guys with that. Thank you guys, and we will see you next week. Have a blessed day, guys.